we have today a meeting of CRISP as well as ClickNL, and both are programs that meant to stimulate the creative economy. We are mainly stressing the value of this kind of creative research and multi-collaborative research projects. Could you maybe share a bit of your thoughts on how these programs could help us to stimulate the creative economy in the Netherlands?
It's important we do research towards, on one hand, the value product service systems can have for users or consumers. On the other hand, these designs only will survive if they also generate some value for the owner of the product service system. So it's not about designing a user experience, it's about designing an ecosystem that makes money. And especially the last part is often forgotten by the researchers who are very much into user experience, but not in making money. The value for the owner of the product service system or the solution we make is very important, because we can think of all kind of interesting ideas that will benefit society. But if nobody wants to pay for it, or if nobody wants to be the owner of it, it ends up in a drawer.
Thank you very much.
What I find interesting about how they presented themselves, I mean, they're presented by the people inside the project, so they know the project really well, can present it really well, but they're also very focused on it. And when I just sit there in the room and just let it all roll over, you see many more possible applications. You see much bigger values in other sectors than people are focusing on right now.
What project or what presentation really stood out for you?
The presentation with the lights, because actually they were going for something else. And they were very good researchers, because they actually saw what they didn't expect to happen. To us, the value is enormous, because it will lead to an enormous reduction in cost. And that's the interesting thing. Everybody's talking here about the value of the sale, but the value to society that you are able to give people the care they need with less money, with less effort. But increasing the quality of life, that's it. You focus on the quality of life is tremendous as such.
I think the biggest value is to bring all the different disciplines together and work together. I think that's the biggest value probably. And also to think about these product service systems instead of only thinking about prototypes, products, and what do we do afterwards. So I think that is the added value of CRISP.
Could you tell us what stood out for you? What project was really interest you?
Of course, with my background, I'm very interested in the Smart Materials project, because it's linked to textile and clothing and interior textile that I'm used to. It's interesting to see how it can develop. So for me, that's an interesting project.
By working with, like in this case, with a elderly care company, I mean, they already have the users, they already have the market, so we don't need to actually produce hundreds and hundreds and see how many we sell. We can just produce for what is needed. So that means that economically that's more interesting, because it's more like production on demand. But also we know from the beginning what's our market and what we can get out of it. I think that that's one of the most important things.
Minister Bussemaker from the Ministry of Education, Culture and Science wrote in a letter to the second chamber, CRISP was a very good example of a program where all parties join. And I think if you go to the rooms, and you will see that there's a lot of energy, there's a lot of enthusiasm. And that's one of the big assets of CRISP. And I think everybody acknowledges that it's an example for future research projects. And yes, I'm very proud of it. I think everybody who's in CRISP can be very proud of this.